Blog Talk Radio.
What's going on, people? This is Beat Street Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host, Lee, a.k.a. the Hoops Guru. As always, got my right-hand man with me, Mr. MKA. What's going on with you, Ed?
It's all good, brother. What's the deal?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, had a little spring break with the kids, you know, took them to the beach, all that good stuff, you know, went to amusement parks and all that, so they good to go. So now I can get back to zoning out to basketball, getting ready for my favorite time of year, man, the playoffs, man. So it's good. It's all love right now, man. It's all love. But before we get into the NBA, we got to touch up on the latest with the NFL. You know, they always got something going on. And the biggest news I see coming out of the NFL today is that Chris Johnson signed with the New York Jets. Everybody said that's the squad he should go to. I wouldn't mind seeing him on the Giants, to tell the truth. But he's on the Jets now. So they signed Vic. They got Chris Johnson. They have Decker. I believe they signed another receiver as well. Can't remember who it is off the top of my head. But how do you think the Jets are looking at the offseason, and what do you think about the signing?
They're still not making the playoffs, so it don't matter.
Man, I said what you think about the signing, man.
Well,
I don't
the
know
thing
why you
is,
found them out so easily, but go ahead.
I'll tell you in a minute. Well, I mean, they got Chris Johnson, but, I mean, past couple of years, his yard per carry average has been going down the hill, and the two backs that they already got in the team, Ivory and Powell, they both average 4+ yards a carry. So to me, he wasn't a real need. To me, they need either improve the offensive lineman or get another either veteran or another wide receiver to, I guess, stretch the defense so Decker can work underneath, or hell, maybe even get a tight end. So to me, he's a big name, but I don't really see, unless they're going to run like a read option type of system with Chris Johnson and Vic in the back for the same time, sort of similar to what Chip Kelly has in Philadelphia. Unless they're going to run something like that, I really don't understand him signing there.
Well, I know the Jets, they needed some semblance of a running game. They didn't have any last year. But to me, this sign is kind of telling me Vic's going to start. I just don't see a veteran coming to that team playing with Geno. I just don't. Unless Geno has a hell of a camp, I have a feeling this sign means Vic is going to start. But I think the Jets are moving in the right direction. And, you know, the draft hasn't happened yet. So who knows what they're going to go after in the draft to address those particular needs you're talking about as far as tight end and things of that nature. What do you feel about the draft being pushed back? Do you think it's been better for teams to kind of sort out free agency first so they go into the draft with a better game plan, or they should have left it in April as it was before?
Well, here's the thing that's crazy. The only reason why they moved the draft date from April 22nd to May 8th is because of the scheduling conflict at Radio City Music Hall for, I forget exactly what was supposed to be happening. So the NFL moved it, you know, they moved it forward. Come to find out, whatever the hell they moved it forward for, it got canceled, didn't end up happening. So they could have actually realistically went ahead and changed the date back to the original date, but since they already had, you know, it in place for the May 8th, they kept it there. But I will say that what it has done is given more teams to go ahead and bring in people for personal workouts or evaluations, because they're allowed to bring in no more than 30 players. So teams like Jacksonville, they messed around. They had the top 7 overall players in the draft, 5 of the quarterbacks, and at one day all at one time. So some teams have been doing due diligence, and other teams just gave them more time to look at players. And I believe some people, they went ahead and the coaching staff gave their assistant coaches and staff off a couple of weeks, and then they came back because they had the extra time. So everybody, you know, use their time differently.
Yeah, I guess maybe tradition, they want to be in Radio City Music Hall, but damn, there's a lot of other places they could have held the daggone draft if it was a schedule conflict. I mean, even move it out of New York for a year, you know, it won't hurt anything. But nevertheless, it took place. I think it helped teams out like the Jets. You know, they have certain key things in place, so now they can address certain needs in the draft as opposed to reaching for something because it was a priority, even though it might have been too high of a pick for that particular player. So hopefully it works out, you know, but we'll see. But let's get back into the NBA. Tonight is the last night for the regular season in the NBA. 16 teams have made it into the playoffs, so there's no team fighting to actually get in the playoffs tonight. There are some seeding things that are taking place that have ramifications tonight. That's about it. I know there are teams really going to work to avoid playing Miami, because Washington can fall into that spot if they lose and the Bobcats win, they could fall into 7th. Or Washington can go into 5th. If Brooklyn loses and they win tonight, they can go into 5th. And Chicago can go into 3rd if they win and Toronto loses. So there's a lot of juggling that's going to go around the second half. The only thing that we know is Indiana's 1 and Miami's 2. That's the only thing we know for sure. And I think the only spot cats are really trying to avoid is the 7th seed. No one wants to play Miami the first round. Outside of that, is there any other teams or matchups you think teams should be worried about playing right now, or it doesn't even matter?
No, it doesn't matter. I'm always interested in the in the 4-5 game, and 4-5 and the
3-6.
I guess 3-6. Those are always the two most interesting, because I believe that's going to pit like Toronto against somebody, and those are like winnable series for the team that has a lesser record, because we don't know what Toronto is going to do in the actual playoffs, because it'll be their first time getting there. Same thing with Charlotte. So there's a couple of interesting matchups when the dust settles. We'll see how it plays out. Like, for example, I know you're saying nobody wants to play Miami, but I think it would be actually interesting if Charlotte ends up having to play them, because I want to see what they're going to do with old boy Al Jefferson in the paint. He's not a huge, dominating figure. They can mess around, because it's like he's not like, a traditional side center. They can mess around and probably get away with putting Haslam or LeBron on him if need be. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with him.
Like, no, I don't think you want LeBron in the kill box on Al. I know LeBron, I love LeBron, but I wouldn't want him messing with Al Jefferson in the post. That would be, I would love to see it if we ask him, but I don't think you can stop him down there. But the crazy part is, remember, Al Jefferson is a problem for Miami, because remember when LeBron had his 62-point game, Al Jefferson had like 38 points and I can't remember how many boards. I think 19 boards or something crazy like that.
Yeah, he had like 37 and 18.
Yeah, he had a crazy game that game. So he does work out. Another problem they would have is Kemba Walker. He's been playing the best ball of his career as of late. And, Miami doesn't do too well against, star-studded point guards. They've had to even put LeBron on top-flight point guards before. Not saying Kemba Walker's top flight, but he's kind of looking like that dude, similar to who we thought he was going to be coming out of college.
You mean he's better? You mean he's doing better than what you thought, like how Teague is in Atlanta, who you thought was a bum?
You said who in Atlanta?
Teague. You thought Teague was a bum? Remember, you thought that light-skinned dude was going to take his job, and he didn't?
I never thought Teague was a bum. I still think he's like on that Brandon Jennings, Brandon Wright level.
Nah, he had a very good year this year. You being real disrespectful.
Man, he's on that level, dude. He's not as good as Kyrie Irving or John Wall right now. Or
I take him over Kyrie Irving. Y'all really overhyping this Kyrie dude, boy. Y'all really overhyping this dude.
Me personally, I think Kyrie Irving's highly overrated. Okay, I think he's extremely overrated. I think he's the type of dude that, everybody jumped on the bandwagon, and just, he has like a lot of personal accolades, but he hasn't done anything to make his team successful. Because I think his team has a horrible record right now. As him as being the starting point guard, even though he is a two-time All-Star, and in the All-Star game MVP, it hasn't really translated. And we've seen Cleveland actually be better without him. I mean, we have a good sample size to say so. I mean, when he was gone, that's when they actually made their playoff push. Even though they did, when he came back, that's kind of when it bottomed out. So to me, Kyrie Irving has a lot to prove next year. Personally, you know, even though people are probably going to blame it on Cleveland and he needs to get out of there, he hasn't shown me any leadership qualities at all. But my thing is, so let me ask you a question then, since we're talking about Teague. If you put Teague in Cleveland and put Kyrie in Atlanta, would Cleveland have more success?
At the point guard spot, yes.
Overall, I'm saying. Because, you know, personal numbers, I don't think Teague can touch them.
Oh, no. Kyrie is a more offensive and probably has a better handle on things of that nature. But with the whole Cleveland, to me, it's not just so much, because I know you come at Kyrie's neck, and I can't blame you for that, but to me, it's not just Kyrie, it's the organization. You know, I think they suck from top to bottom. Like, I think from the head coach and up, GM, I think all of them are terrible. So if all of them are terrible, then it doesn't really matter what you put on the field. But they got saved before because they had LeBron. But even as dope as LeBron was, he still didn't have nothing to do with player personnel. I mean, if you look at their team, I mean, well, you say the boy ain't that bad, but Bennett was horrible selection for a first-round pick. He was horrible. He should have never gone number one. Well, then you look at Tristan Thompson. I'm going to give him a pass to the whole draft class. I'm going to give him a pass because the whole draft class sucks. The whole draft class was terrible. So him being number one is, so what? You know what I mean? Like, who else was it going to take? There wasn't no studs in that draft. That was one of the worst drafts. Well, I think Noel, he'll be back next year. They'd have been better off taking Noel.
He'll be back.
I mean, they would have got the same production-wise, he asked me.
But this is my thing. Since LeBron's left, they've always needed a small forward. So, and they, you know, drafting Bennett damn sure wasn't the answer to that problem. So, you know, you add him with Tristan Thompson and SpongeBob and Zeller, and you know, they still just struggling with all these forwards. Nobody that can play the small forward position. You know, and it's still, I mean, I guess they got Luau Deng now, but he's gone. He's not going to stay there. He's no fool unless he just wants the money. So it's going to be, you know, maybe they'll get the first pick again and they can draft Wiggins and finally get that addressed or something.
No, more likely they'll draft the dude, which I still miss this. I don't recall you saying about it. Maybe they'll draft the dude, Abib, who people are telling me they're saying he has a chance to be like Hakeem Olajuwon and bring back the dominance in the NBA. So I'm really getting sick of hearing this dude. So. Whoa.
See, I got to be careful because I wasn't high on Anthony Davis and he made me look bad. I didn't see that potential.
I know but that's different though. Davis could play. You were just hating on him. He could actually. I don't know why you were hating on Davis so much, but you were really hating on him.
I didn't see the tools, man. I didn't see he had that jumper. There's a lot of things he has now. I didn't see he had his freshman year. You know, it was only, think about it, the sample size was small. We got 1 year here in college. But yeah, this kid Envy looks kind of raw. He looks.
You're saying Hakeem Olajuwon, dude.
Nah, I ain't saying Olajuwon, dude, man. But hey, I'm saying to me, Randall's got to be real high. He's proven he's got the tools. I think Jabari Parker's can't miss. And the potential of Wiggins is something you can't pass up. Even, like, Wiggins is scary, though. I think he can go either way, man.
I don't think so. I think because how the league is now, where it's not physical and it's up and down league, I'm going to say it like this. The very worst, I can't see him being no worse than Harrison Barnes. Being like a player that has like all the player skills in the world or ability to have them, but then he's just not an aggressive. To me, I don't think Wiggins is aggressive. So I'm thinking he might be like Hibbert and like the boy Green that used to be on OKC that's on the Celtics now, just has the ability to do certain things but just doesn't apply to himself. I can see him being one type of dude because he's from Canada. I don't see like that the street kid toughness or from the streets or just an American type of balling.
Well, you got to think too.
Acting for him.
His father was in the NBA, so he's not one of these kids that's like this is gonna bring me out of a desperate situation. You know what I mean? He don't have that. It's like his love for the game is gonna have to fuel him And I haven't seen that fire in him. I like Kevin Durant in college. You would think he would be kind of on that level with all the hype he had, and he kind of wasn't. He's shown very little flashes of dominance, and that's what I worry about him. But to me, Jabari Parker brought it every night with Duke. It seemed like his stamp was on every game. And Wiggins disappeared in a lot of games with Kansas this year. That's what I worry about with him.
Okay.
Hey, but let's move on. Let's talk about the West Coast, man, because this is where it's going to be at. First of all, shout out to Phoenix Suns, man. 47 wins. You didn't make the playoffs. That's got to be disappointing, because if you were in the East, you would be the 4th seed. Yeah, if you're in the East, that's good enough to be the 4th seed. The West Coast, that gets you out of the playoffs. So, well, not the 4th seed, the 5th seed. So that's got to be disappointing. But yeah, that especially for a team that was supposed to be tanking this year. But hey, when you lose your last 3 games, bro, you can't say that.
Oh yeah, they were already in the playoffs.
Yeah, they were in, so they kind of fell out of the playoffs. So, you can't think about it. Like, if this game mattered tonight, they play Sacramento. What if this was the game to keep you in the playoffs? So they should have won 50 games, but they did it to themselves. So they'll learn from it and be better next year. And then we got to get a shout-out to Memphis. They won their last 4 games in a row and were able to – it looks like the West pretty much is going to be locked up the way things are. San Antonio's got to be a little pissed that they got to play Memphis the first round, man. They got to have flashbacks of what these dudes did to them 2 years ago. Don't you agree? Do you agree that that's like is this the worst first matchup round matchup they probably could have had?
Cause I know they were asking this question between them and Phoenix. I'm going to say that yeah, like you said, Memphis is going to give them a little bit, couple more problems because of the big men that they have, but Memphis ain't beating them. 2 years ago, I mean, this new coach they got, they scrambled, they made it, but, this team hasn't been the same when they got rid of Hugh Hollins and they got rid of Rudy Gay, even though he seems to be somewhat of a basketball enigma. But, they're going to, like I say, Gasol and Zebo, they'll do their thing. But after that, Conley is not going to be able to do nothing with Parker. And then the rest of the perimeter players is going to go ahead and take him out because that's always been Memphis' problem has been the perimeter. I know Conley had like a little run last season, and people were talking that nonsense. He's a top 5 point guard, and he's better than what I thought he was going to be coming out of Ohio State. But all the rest of the stuff, the 2 and 3 spots, and in their bench, that's what's going to do him in.
Yo, man, who these dudes you be talking to?
No. They were saying that on TV. On TV, they were saying that the way he was playing, they said that Conley had moved into top 5. That wasn't people who I was talking to. That was the media and their nonsense.
All right, my question real quick, man. I'm getting off a little bit, but who would you take, Conley or Teague?
I'm going to have to say right now, I might have to say Conley because Conley has improved his game with that nature. But I do like Teague better than Conley. But just based off of being realistic and how they've been playing, I would have to take Conley because Conley is a very good solid point guard. I can't front him.
See, I'm glad you kept it real. So and that's what I'm saying. That's why I can't say like Teague he's better. Gosh, am I gonna really diss Brandon Jennings like this? Yeah, I am. He's better than Brandon Jennings. He's Brandon Wright. He's like with Mike Conley right now. Like Mike Conley's dead nice. He hasn't really made an all-star team, but he's a great floor general. But he's not that dude that's going to take you to the finals. But he did take him to a conference finals, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Well, here's the thing. The thing with like this: if me and you had to pick a team, and it's between doggone Conley, Teague, and Brandon Jennings, we're all going to take Brandon Jennings because Brandon Jennings is a baller, but he's just not what you would say the great person you'd be on your team.
Wait,
yes, you would. Yes, you would. If we were on the, yes, you would. If we were on the blacktop and it was between, yes, you would. Because Brandon Jennings is his day. He may not be a high IQ, technically basketball savvy player, but he's a baller. Okay, Brandon Jennings can play, so I can't front him like that. But since we're talking about organized ball,
street ball, or you're talking about an organized NBA
I'm talking
game?
about skill set wise. Skill set wise, he's better than all those guys. But the thing is that when it comes to the structure of being on a team and running a team, he's behind those two guys.
I mean, yeah, well, you're talking about two different things, man. We're talking about in an NBA format, we're picking a squad. Hell no, I'm not picking Brandon Jennings. Like, it was just a pickup game in the gym, I probably would pick Brandon Jennings. It's two different things. Mm-hmm. But, you know, we're going to keep it in the context of the pros, because that's the stage we see them playing in. So that's
in the pros, like I said, I'm gonna take Conley, but I really will want Teague. I really do like Teague a lot better than Conley, because I think Teague also it presents you more of the one-man fast break option opposed to Conley. Like, to me, Conley really isn't particularly fast or quick, but I'll get that out of Teague, and I know Teague is going to play more D than those other two cats, and also he's going to be feisty and competitive. Like, he's kind of like the boy from Toronto, the boy Lowry. Like, Lowry, he's going to come out there and he's going to play. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't the greatest point guard in the NBA, but the thing is, he wears his effort on the sleeve. You know, he's a real competitive cat. You know, he got like some spunk to him. And like I said, unlike Conley, he's another one that's quick and fast. See, to me, Conley doesn't really bring nothing physical to that position. He's just like a point guard. Like, you know, he don't really, you know.
I like that about him. And it's, you know, I'm here in Atlanta, so I see Teague a lot, and it's like he's good, but there's something about his game that's keeping him where he is. But, you know, he has flashes of brilliance, but it's not sustainable for 48 minutes in the game. And I think that's a problem what he has. But you're right. He is good, but to me, he's going to be all like that dude that's always – he's going to be kind of stuck in that Mike Conley world where he's good for a general. He'll probably play for – you know, he's been with his team for a while. But eventually you're going to look for an upgrade because the dude just hasn't taken him anywhere. But in Conley, you could say it's better because he's actually taking his team further, even though he has more talent to work with. Teague is kind of just, you know, first-round knockout. You know, probably happen again this year, but – you know, it's just something about his game where he's decent, but you would if you had a chance to upgrade, you'd take it. And I think that's where he's stuck. And then there's another matchup interesting. Dallas and the Clippers, because it looks like the more than likely the Clippers are going to stay in the third seed. Do you think that they'll have any problems with Dallas this year? In the first round, like that was another team I would want to play. Yeah,
I'm gonna say yes because of the fact that, you know, I don't really think he's been getting a lot of shine this year, but the brother they got from Milwaukee, what?
Not my fault. I got it messed up. It would be Oklahoma City and Dallas. The Clippers will be in Golden State. I think they'll handle Golden State with no problem. Oklahoma City and Dallas.
Well, see. The thing is with that is that I know those two teams really don't like each other, and they always like to, you know, rough up Blake and things of that nature. But they always have some pretty good games, and then that's one of the few times you can pretty much cancel out the point guards, because Curry and Paul are going to cancel each other out. Then it's going to come down to, okay, you got Blake and then you have Lee. I'm not going to say they're going to cancel each other out, but Blake is not going to bow down to Lee. And then Bogut Jordan. I mean, to me, that's a wash.
I don't think Bogut's going to be playing.
Okay, well, then he's not going to be playing. So then, but Jordan's still not – I mean, he's going to be a factor defensively, but not really scoring-wise. So then, to me, that game is going to come down to Thompson, the bench, Thompson, Blake, and Iguodala. And then for the Clippers, it's going to come down to Redick and, you know, your boy Jamal Crawford.
Yeah, Jamal Crawford. Yeah, and Darren Collison is. You could. The thing about Crawford is good. You can play that dude as a 1 or 2, or you can play him as 3 if you want to go small. So I think Doc Rivers has a lot more options than Mark Jackson has, and I think that's going to be the key to the series too. That Doc Rivers is just a better coach than Mark Jackson is at this point in his career, and the Clippers are deeper. That's why. I don't think they'll have a problem with them. Plus, you know, man, it's going to be rocking in there for the Clippers, especially with the Lakers out of the playoffs. it's going to be rocking them like you never believed for them before. So that home court advantage, I think, for the Clippers is going to be huge this year.
Well, I'm going to give it to the Clippers because I know I just seen a game where Iguodala and Bogut didn't play, and without those two guys, the whole defense as a team for the Warriors was horrible. Like, I forgot who they were playing, but they gave up like 60-something points in the first half. It was ridiculous. So I didn't really want to give Bogut and Iguodala that much credit for that, but yeah, those two guys both have to be healthy, especially playing a team that is close that can run the floor like the Clippers. So yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna give the Clippers the go ahead on that, but it's still gonna be an interesting series, even if they win that 4-2.
And man, there's another team, and nobody's talking about. I mean, that 4-5 matchup, Houston and Portland, is going to be a beast. And I know that San Antonio is hoping Portland wins that thing because I believe San Antonio got swept by Houston this year during the regular season.
Nah, they couldn't
I think so, bro.
Nah.
Yeah, if there's a way I can confirm this, I daggone sure will.
I don't believe that. Nah.
I think so, man. I think so.
Nah. They might have swept Portland. They might have swept Portland, but I don't think ain't no way that the Houston them swept the Spurs. No.
It was something I was really surprised about when I saw it. I was like, wow, really? Dang, that's not a good matchup for them. But yeah, Houston is a scary team, man. The only thing I don't like their point guard situation. I wish it was a little bit better.
You don't like Harden?
You say that again?
You don't like James Harden?
No, he don't play the point though.
Shit, I can't tell. He always initiating the offense every time I look at the game. What you talking about?
Nah, I mean they rely heavily on Patrick Beverly, running the point, putting that pressure on the point, and with Jeremy Lin kind of playing behind him.
Man, so every time I see the game, I see Harden initiating the offense, but okay.
Yeah, he does push the ball up a lot. But yeah, you know how he does. It seems like he gets the rock in transition with them and looks for early buckets. But when in the playoffs, they're going to be more in the half court section. He's not going to be initiating it in the half court.
Well, when they get to half court, here's the thing that I'm confused with the Rockets, and they're still doing this even now. Transition-wise, okay, they have no problem with that, pretty much like any team in the league. The whole purpose of them getting Howard was that when they get to the half-court set is that, they can throw the ball down to him. They still don't do that mess. Like, they still come out here and they will do, break stuff even in a half-court set and just jack up some shots. And a lot of times Howard don't even see the rock. I'm thinking to myself, dude, this is the reason why y'all got this dude. I mean, along with playing D is that when y'all get in half-court is the fact that to make people go ahead and double him just off the fact that, he's athletic or he'll, abuse the other centers or small dudes one-on-one. But a lot of times to me, they don't feed the post when they should. And, as you know in the playoffs, teams ain't going to be doing all that freaking running up and down when they get to the postseason. So I'm really interested to see if they're going to, is McHale's going to make a point of emphasis for them dudes to come up off of that.
Well, you would think in the half court they're going to, maybe dump it down to him, try to do the inside-out game with the perimeter shooters or do some pick and roll with him and Harden or him and Lim with Harden on the weak side. That's what you think that they would throw in, the reason he's there. But what's funny, in the West Coast, man, I won't be surprised if they are running in the playoffs, man. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, you still might see guys just running hard. They might not slow it down. The East Coast, we know that's going to be a grind. But in the West, I think these teams run. They're going to still do what they've been doing all season long, man. But it's going to be very interesting. Oh, Damian Lillard's on a $100 million deal with Adidas. I'm not mad at you, bruh.
Get money.
Hey, man. Hey. What's funny, though? Damian Lillard's been kind of quiet this year. Portland hasn't really had the spotlight on him that much this year. So,
well, they started off high, then they started to fade.
Man, them dudes won 50 games.
Yeah, I know they won 50 games, but the way they was running the beginning of the year, you thought they were about to win 60. And then they ended up, a 5 seed? Well, remember, they had the best record in the league for first 2 months. They were like how the Pacers were in the beginning of the year. They was hot.
Yeah, there was like a 10-0 squad at the beginning of the year, right?
Yeah, then they just slowly fell off.
But you know what? That's kind of good for them, man. That they're under the radar like they are right now. I know they're beating themselves in the head that they didn't win one more game because they probably could have got that home court advantage over Houston in that first round, and I think this series is going to be key. Well, they play the Clippers tonight, so like there's teams. There's certain games that are worth watching tonight because teams are actually going to still play basketball, and I think that Portland Clippers game is one that they're going to actually play some ball tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes down. And we pretty much hit the mark for the show, but let's just talk about a few more things real quick before we get out of here. I wanted to do the awards, season awards, but we'll save that for Friday. We'll do our season awards, so I'll give you time to think about it as far as MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Sixth Man, Most Improved Coach of the Year, and first NBA first team, and NBA first team defense. We'll do something like that, a show just dedicated to that. But now that the season's over for the Lakers and the Knicks, where do they go, man? I know the Knicks are trying already. I believe they signed Lamar Odom so that he'll be a restricted free agent.
Oh, the crackhead?
So it looks like, well, I mean, you know what, though? Hey, if anybody knows him and can get his confidence back, it's Phil Jackson, right? And Phil knows he can run the triangle. So you got to, for this signing, you got to say Mike Goodson's gone and the triangle's coming to New York next year.
And who coaching?
From what I'm hearing, Steve Kerr. That's the top candidate. I heard the job's his if he wants it.
Well, I heard Steve Kerr and Kurt Rambis.
Well, that's not bad either. Kurt Rambis does know the triangle. He's had some success as a coach. My thing is, though, Phil likes tall guards. So it's gonna be interesting what type of people they bring into to build this roster, because it's talent there. They do have some assets like Tyson Chandler. He may be an asset to move, and try to get a point guard. Stranger things have happened. But who's in better shape, the Knicks or the Lakers for next year?
Well, this is going to be a hard question to ask and we'll answer because neither team both teams are going to have new coaches next season. So I don't really know who the teams are going to hire. But just looking at it from a personnel standpoint, because Gasol's contract is going to be up, by default, I'm going to say the Knicks, but because the Knicks they're going to be, on paper, they have talent, because you're going to talk about Melo, Stat, Chandler, Shumpert, and then you're going to talk about the, Hardaway's son. Right. But, so I have to say that. For the Lakers, only people I know on the contract is going to be Kobe, Nash, Gasol's off the books, and there's no one else to talk about after that.
Only people on the contract are Kobe, Nash, and Swaggy P has a player's option, which I guess his contract sucks. He's probably going to pick it up. So that's the crazy thing with the Lakers.
So by default, I'll say the Knicks, but the Knicks are stuck financially, so they're going to have to go through another crappy year until they can actually get some major money off the books. So if I have to look at it from that standpoint, the best team right now just going in when they get new head coaches is the Knicks. But if you was to ask me which one of those two teams going to turn around quicker, I would say the Lakers.
But see, my thing is the Knicks, they were bad because they were just bad, because they were getting their Kramer on. I think this team focused over a summer with new energy is definitely a playoff team. So they'll be a playoff team, and then they'll still be able to get teams off. They'll still be able to get salaries off the books. The problem with the Lakers.
No, you mean a playoff team if your man's come back, because your man's don't come back, they damn sure in a playoff team.
Then they'll just sign Braun. No, I'm playing. Yeah, if he don't sign back, hey, that's still open money to sign somebody. I'm saying that's still money to sign a top player. I don't know who's available. There's still money to go after somebody. But I think the problem with L.A. is the fact that, first of all, the elephant in the room is Kobe going to be healthy. One, and, you know, the big money that Kobe's taking on the books. Two is like they're going to be limited with the talent they could bring in, and they need to fill out that roster. So
no, but they're going to have money from Gasol's money.
No, they're going to have a lot of money, but you got to think, Kobe's money is what, like $24 million next year?
Yeah.
That means you could you really can't sign another max player.
No, they can.
I mean, you think about this. Miami is giving $14 million a year each to Bosh, Wade, and LeBron. $24 million is pretty much 2 max contracts. So you may be able to sign another guy to a max or close, but then you got to fill the roster with talent too, you know. And I think that's the dilemma they're in, and that's why I thought it was always dangerous to sign Kobe for so much money, because for the age he is and the health he's in, and how much it's going to take away from the salary cap. That's the dilemma I see LA in. How are they going to build that team? I mean, the thing they got going for them, that it is LA.
I don't think it's going to be a problem, only because everybody said the same thing with Miami signing the big three they have, and people was like, oh, well, you know, they ain't going to sign anybody. Look, there's always veterans and people who think other people think are bums you can put on your team to fill the roster out, and you can find those gems plus 2 you can draft. So the bigger thing is you getting a 5. You can get a bench from anywhere.
But there's one thing you said, though. Remember, that was the big 3. Of course, dudes are going to come to sign us to play around those 3 dudes. But how many dudes are going to clamor to sign and play around we don't know status of Kobe at this age? It's you know what I mean? It's not the same.
Well, I was, now this year was a watch because we didn't know he was going to have the issue as he came back with the Achilles from the knee fracture thing. But this is the last year, the 2-year contract they gave him, and after this past season, what?
Next year is the first year of that contract.
Okay, well, but he should, if the Joker don't go mess around and come back next year, and he's not able to go ahead and play, then we'll know it's a wrap. But because it's Kobe, I got to at least give him doggone next season before I say it's official. Your body, you know, they plays you. You know what I'm saying? So next year is, like I say, it's a crucial year.
Yeah, next year is it. You know, and he's got to be ready from training camp. You know what I mean? It's, if there's any setbacks in the summer, you know, it's going to be shaky ground. And I don't know if you knew that or not. His contract don't kick in until next year. So.
Oh, okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. It's a big hit because that money starts next year. So you got to do that for 2 years. And of course, they're not trading him unless you're trading for the Knicks, so you can play with Phil in the triangle. You know, crazier things have happened, but
yeah, all right.
We shall. I'm just saying, crazy things have happened. We saw it. Hey, you know, it came to my crazy brain before anybody else's, man. But hey, man, that's it. We're getting ready for the playoffs. They start Saturday. We'll do a show Friday. We'll know the matchups for sure. And what we'll do is we're going to predict the series. We'll predict the first round series. If we have enough time, we'll give our season awards. Cool?
No doubt.
All right, man. It's been a pleasure, brother. Hey, y'all, thanks for listening. This is B Street Sports Talk Radio. Peace.